Welcome back to another video. I'm Jen Palco. Today, I'm going to talk about how we start developing an unhealthy relationship with food. Now, this is common for a lot of people. You know, they don't even realize it, that they might have a very, very unhealthy relationship with their food. And this can lead to problems down the line. This can lead to eating disorders, disordered eating. This can lead to a lifetime of torture and struggle for a lot of people. So we're going to break it down for you. I'm going to try and give you kind of a simplistic view on it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jen, and I help people reinvent themselves. And my intention is to provide value to you. So, you know, if you like the content here, please subscribe below. I put out a video every single morning. So, all right. So, unhealthy food patterns. All right. So I'm going to use my whiteboard here. Sorry if I'm a little hoarse today. I'm getting over a sinus cold. So if I sound like a 70-year-old woman who has smoked, then do not be alarmed. All right. So we'll utilize this. So first, this is you. This is you. All right. Sorry, you got a big nose. You got some hair. All right. You. Sorry, this whiteboard is going to fall on me. So this is you. Okay? And this is food. Okay, right here, food. You're on the same level, the same playing field here with food. And, you know, basically, in order for you to survive and live, you need to eat food, right? I mean, it's common. So this is survival, okay? Sorry, my handwriting's not great. So this is kind of like your neutral zone with food, all right? And, you know, this is the healthy zone. This is, we all need to eat, right? We all need water. We all need food. We all need these certain things that help us survive and help us, you know, maintain our bodies and not die. Okay. Sorry, my voice is really going to give out on me today. So, okay, you and food, neutral. Okay. This is when you're a baby, when you grow up, like this is what you do. You stay in this neutral plane, okay, with you and food. And you do not develop unhealthy eating habits until you start being pressured by things external of you, whether it's society. And, you know, what this does, it creates a lot of emotions within you. And these emotions may cause you to eventually put food up here. Okay, so suddenly the food is not on this neutral plane. Okay, suddenly the food is up here. If say you go through a lot of stressful situations in your life, you have a lot of anxiety over a breakup or a job loss, or you know, feeling insecure about yourself, if you're like a teenager or something like that. You have, you know, things like self-image. You know, this is big for like teenagers. Self-image. Okay, comfort. This is where you start to eat for comfort a little bit, okay? So you move up a little bit. So you're not completely in the unhealthy, disordered eating stage, but you are now looking for food, or you realize that, you know, it's comforting you in some way, some sort of emotion or something you're going through, or self-image issues, things like that. But the more you sit here in the comfort stage, the more you realize, oh, food now feels good to eat this food. It gives me almost like a little temporary high. So you want more and more and more of it. So what happens is eventually you keep looking for that excess energy or that quick energy, and it goes from just like a little bit of comfort eating to full-blown filling the void. So You are filling a void. Okay, and this is usually an emotional void for people. So, neutral zone here, this is what we need to survive, this is what you start out as. Then you decide, okay, food, I enjoy food, I like eating food, it gives me comfort. You know, you have like family gatherings and holidays where everybody's eating, and you realize, okay, food is good. It's making me happy. It's making me happy, or this is where you start to realize that maybe you know, you had a bad day, and you know, having ice cream or chocolate cake or something like that makes you feel a little bit better. So it gives you a little bit of temporary high, and then eventually when you get up to here, you're always trying to maintain that high in a sense. So this is where you almost become addicted. Okay. This is where you almost become addicted to the high, to the temporary high. So what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture is that you went from here and now you have an imbalance of energy exchange, okay? So this is you, and you feel some sort of void or something you want to fill with food, and you move all the way up here, you put food up here, okay? And this gives you temporary energy. But by nature, energy has to balance itself out in some way. So it's almost like using a credit card. So you have to pay interest down the line, okay? So it's almost like a payback that you have to do. So what happens is you have this, you go from comfort to, you know, this little bit of excess energy. But then when you find yourself, when this wears off, you find yourself dipping back down to neutral and a little below neutral. So you now find yourself dipping a little below neutral to here, okay? And this is where you start feeling those negative vibrational states of emotion, okay? So you have like guilt, shame, stuff like that. So guilt, shame, okay? And once you dip back down to this point here, you realize, oh, I need to feel that, I need to get that energy back. I need that temporary high because that feels good. And being down here does not feel good. So what do? It creates a cycle. It creates a pattern where, again, you are eating. You're binge eating. You're emotionally eating. You are filling the void, okay? Or you're fulfilling those thoughts of, you know, you have guilt, you have shame, you have all these negative vibrational thoughts, and you want to balance that out. But what you're balancing it out with is something external of you, not your natural vital energy, not your body's natural energy. So you're filling it with food. So this creates just like a cycle over and over again, okay? So you're filling the void, so you eat. And then afterwards, you dip back down to here. You fill the void, you eat, you go back up to here, and then you dip back down to here. And eventually what happens, every time you go through the cycle, you dip a little bit lower, and a little bit lower, and a little bit lower, until you get to a point of like feeling depression, hopelessness. My handwriting's atrocious. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, if you watched my video on, I did one on jealousy, and I showed the emotional ladder, the scale, okay, going from everything from like joy and happiness at the top. The lowest was like depression, hopelessness, despair, stuff like that, really low vibrational stuff. So eventually, if you keep going through this cycle of eating, of trying to fill the void, and then dipping back down where you feel guilt and shame and disgust with yourself, and then, you know, again, you're trying to fill that void. So this can go for like drugs and alcohol and any kind of addiction, addictive quality, that's basically giving yourself a quick high, a temporary high. And what happens with that, like I said, the energy needs to balance it out in life, okay? That is just nature in itself will find ways to balance itself out. So what that means for you is that you are not only going to go back to neutral, okay, to where you've started it all, but you're going to dip down a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, because again, it's this interest you have to pay, this payback, okay, with how energy works in the world. So this is kind of the cycle of how we develop unhealthy eating habits in our life. And, the more you keep using something external of you to fill a void of an unresolved emotion or something that you have not dealt with. Okay, at first it's not so bad if you're using food for comfort, just because, we all like food. Food is tastes good, it makes us feel good, nothing wrong with that. But it becomes an unhealthy relationship when you go so far from this middle line here. If you stray, it's okay to stray a little bit up and down, but if you stray far away and you're putting food up on this pedestal and you feel like it's fixing all your issues, but you're not, at the same time, you're not resolving the issues underneath it, then this cycle is just going to repeat and repeat and repeat in your life. And you're really not going to conquer this, or you're not going to develop a healthy relationship with food. So in order to develop a healthy relationship with food, you have to get to the underlying emotions of what's going on with you. First of all, why you feel that way, whether it's something going on in your personal life or your career or family life and things like that. Or you are just unhappy where you are, then realize that, this is going to be a pattern for you for a majority of your life if you don't do something about it, or you don't break this cycle, okay, of always beating yourself up. It's basically self-sabotage because you're punishing yourself down here, once you've eaten the food, once you've filled that void. Once the food wears off, or the temporary high wears off, once the endorphin rush wears off, all the feel-good chemicals that your body releases, once all that stuff wears off, then you dip back down. You dip back down into the lower vibrational states of your being. So if you can remain neutral and just eat for survival, that's not that much fun for people. But if you can get to that point, then you really will not have these huge dips up and down. But, it's okay to eat a little bit for comfort and stuff like that. It's okay if you're feeling a little bit like you had a bad day and okay, you want like a piece of chocolate or something like that. That's okay. But just realize that over time, this can develop unhealthy eating habits if you let it get out of control. Only if you let it get out of control, and if you're unaware that you're doing it. If you're unaware that you are filling the void of these unresolved emotions and you're not actually dealing with these emotions, then that is where it gets you. So that's all the voice I got for today, guys. I sound like a frog, but I wanted to put a video out, so I'm going to go rest now. And I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. Hopefully I have more voice. And I'll see you later. Peace.